Hello everybody, welcome you all at Learning is Fun with Progapadamita. Today I am going to tell you about adverbial clauses. What are the adverbial clauses and how do we recognize them and what are the different types of adverbial clauses are there in English language? Today I am going to tell you about all these things. If you watch this video lesson very carefully, you do not have any problem while recognizing an adverbial clause. So stay with me till the end to know all these things very clearly. First, what is an adverbial clause? That is, an adverbial clause actually does the function of an adverb in a sentence. So, what is the function of an adverb? An adverb actually modifies verb or an adjective. So, an adverbial clause also does the same purposes. And as the adverbial clauses are the subordinate clause, they are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions like while, since, until, till, when, because, as if, etc. There are different and many types of subordinating conjunction. According to their function, they are placed in an adverbial clauses and they functions as a subordinating conjunctions there. So, if you wish to know more about adverb, I have video lesson and series of video lesson. I will provide the link in the description box below. You may watch that video lessons as well. Now, it's the time to know all about the adverbial clauses, and here are the examples for you. That as I drove away, I saw them waving goodbye. This is an example for an adverbial clause because this clause actually is stating the time of my waving there. The time they are waving goodbye, actually the time when I drove away. This adverbial clause actually does the function of the time or stating the time of the subordinate clause. Hence, it is stating the time of the subordinate clause. It is called the adverbial clause of time. Another example for you, wait until you are called. This is another example for an adverbial clause. And since I saw her last, she has dyed her hair. All these are the examples for an adverbial clause. Now, let's see what are the different types of adverbial clauses. Here are the types of adverbial clauses, and it's a long list because there are almost 10 categories or 10 types of adverbial clauses. For example, here the adverbial clauses of time, place, condition, reason or cause, purpose, result, similarity and comparison, proportion, preference and comment. All these are the adverbial clauses of time. And how do we recognize them? Yes, now I am going to tell you how to recognize these adverbial clauses very easily. So stay with me. Here, first, the adverbial clause of time, that is the adverbial clause which are stating about the time, and these adverbial clauses of time are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions like when, while, after, as, before, etc. And here the examples for you. As I drove away, I saw them waving goodbye. As I have told you earlier, this is an example of adverbial clause of time. And wait until you are called. These are the adverbial clauses of time, because the subordinate clause, which is an adverbial clause, actually is stating the time of the action, or time of the action took place. Next, the adverbial clauses of place. This is another important adverbial clause, because in a complex sentence, when or in a sentence, adverbial clauses of place functions or states the place where the action took place. And here the adverbial clause of places or adverbial clauses of place are introduced by the subordinating conjunction like where, whenever, or wherever, etc. And here the example for you: where the fire had been, we saw nothing but blackened ruins. So this is an example for an adverbial clause of place. We put colons where we should need to include list. This is another example for adverbial clause of place. So these are the thing, and if you find this thing, the subordinate clause actually functions or actually stating you the place, some action took place, it is definitely adverbial clause of place. Now, next see, this is the adverbial clause of condition, and adverbial clause of condition are introduced by the subordinating conjunction like if, unless, provided, as long as, etc. And here the example for you: you can leave it if you like. This is the adverbial clause of condition, stating the condition you are, that is giving some condition, you can leave it or not, or if you can leave it is your, depends on you. When you are talking about these kind of sentences, it is obviously adverbial clause of condition, and it is introduced by if. And adverbial clause of reason, this is another important clause, and here when some subordinate clause actually stating the reason of something, it is definitely adverbial clause of reason. And the adverbial clause of reason are introduced by the subordinating conjunction like because, as, seems, etc. And here the examples for you: as you are sick, he could not play. So this is why she could not, or why he could not play. The reason is as he was sick. So this is the subordinate clause. This is an adverbial clause of reason. Since you are ill, you need not come. Here again, since you are ill, that is stating the reason why you need not come. Here, this is an example for the adverbial clause of reason. Adverbial clause of purpose, that is sometime the subordinating clause or subordinate clause stating the purpose of something, that is called the adverbial clause of purpose. And the adverbial clause of purpose are introduced by the subordinating conjunction like in order to, so that, etc. Here the example for you: take care so that you have no reason to regret. So this is the purpose, stating the purpose. If you take rest, you do not, or you don't have any cause to regret, etc. Now next, the adverbial clause of result. This is another important adverbial clause. Sometimes adverbial clause or subordinate clause stating the result of something, when it is there, you definitely sure that it is an adverbial clause of result. And an adverbial clause of result is introduced, or the adverbial clauses of result are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions like so that, so, etc. And here is the example for you: he is so weak that he cannot speak. This is a very good example where we find the result or cause why she didn't or he didn't speak, because he is so weak. Next, the adverbial clause of similarity and comparison. This is another example when some subordinate clause are stating about similarity and comparison. They are called adverbial clauses of similarity and comparison, and these kind of adverbial clauses are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions like, as, like, etc. Here the example for you: she treats me as if I am a stranger. Here we find as if there is a comparison, as if she didn't know me. So this is the example for the adverbial clause of similarity and comparison. And the next example for you: I am not so cold as you think. This is another example for the adverbial clause of similarity and comparison. Now, here is the example for adverbial clause of proportion, because there are some subordinate clause which are talking about proportion, and these kind of clauses are introduced by the subordinating conjunction like, as, so, etc. And here are the example for you: as he grew disheartened, his work deteriorated. So this is an example for the adverbial clause of proportion. Another example for adverbial clause is preference, and the adverbial clauses of preference are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions like sooner than, rather than, etc. So here are the example for you: they will fight to finish sooner than surrender. Here they prefer to fight to finish. This is the example where the subordinating clause or subordinate clause actually stating the preference of some person. So this is the example for this adverbial clause of preference. Now, the adverbial clauses of comment. This is another important thing. So, some adverbial clauses are parenthetical. That is, they actually introduced some information in the middle or at the end or at the beginning of a sentence, and these kind of adverbial clauses are called adverbial clauses of comment. So here I am working the night shift. As you know, here the adverbial clause of comment is introduced at the end of the sentence. There is no other applicants, I believe, for the job. Here I believe, this is the subordinate clause and this is a comment clause, an adverbial comment clause, and it is used in the middle of a sentence. And stated bluntly, he had no chance of winning. Here, stated bluntly, this is an adverbial clause of comment and it is introduced at the beginning of a sentence. Hope you like this video lesson. If you have any queries, please do comment in the comment section and I definitely reply them. And moreover, if you like this video lesson, please click the like button as well. So, no more today. Thank you for listening and bye-bye.